Oh, hello and good evening, everyone. Thank you all so much for joining us. My name is Salvador Munoz, and I am the Public Programs Manager at Poster House, which is located in the Manhattan neighborhood of Chelsea and is the first and only museum in the United States dedicated to the art and history of the poster. And tonight, it is my immense pleasure to welcome you to tonight's program, So Bad It's Good, Hot Takes with Gail Anderson and Zipeng Zhu. This program is presented in conjunction with Poster House's current exhibition, The Pushpin Legacy, on view at Poster House through February 6th. And for those of you who don't know, which I'm sure is not a lot of people, because it sounds like there's a lot of fans in the audience tonight, but if you're unfamiliar, Gail Anderson is a designer, writer, educator, and chair of the BFA Design and BFA in Advertising at the School of Visual Arts. And Zipeng Zhu is a Chinese-born artist, designer, art director, illustrator, and animator in New York City who wants to make every day a razzle-dazzle musical. So tonight, these two design powerhouses and good friends will put Pushpin under the microscope, dissecting the good and the bad of the studio's output and sharing how those terms have evolved over time.
Get your monocle.
So before we get started, just a few housekeeping notes for accessibility. Automated closed captioning is available for those who need it, and you can turn it on or off by clicking the CC button on the bottom of your screen. This program is being recorded and will be made available for all registered attendees after the event. And if you have any questions during the program, drop them in the chat or the Q&A box, and I will go ahead and vocalize them for you. Just remember to set your chat to panelists and attendees so that everyone can see your questions. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Gail and Zipeng.
Yay.
Thank you so much, Salvador. So Gail, I'm gonna turn on our little slide that we have prepared for y'all. We have spent the past 2 weeks working on this deck, and it's for this thing. One night only. This is where you get it, folks. Like, this is not something that you see it elsewhere. We put it together only for tonight.
That's quite a buildup. So
it's
all downhill from here. Once you say that.
It's just a fact. I'm just saying, you know. So I am gonna take over the screen real quick. Can y'all see my screen?
Yeah, we can. Yay.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes.
All right. So this is called So Good. It's So Bad It's Good. Wow, I fucked it up already.
You're right.
Off to a great start. Literally going downhill from here. So you know, Gail and I are super honored to be here. Do this event because we want to find a way to take on the legends in a fun, cheeky, saucy way. And tonight it's for that. And I'm just gonna go to the next slide. Who are we? Who we are. So this is a photo taken in Minnesota.
In the rain, in the cold. Yeah.
Oh my God, it was so cold that we really squeezed that smile out of our faces. So we together so hard because we're so cold. Gail, how long have we known each other?
Since you were a baby, since you were a sophomore going into the summer that you were going into your junior year of college. So, you know, you were what, like 20 or something, or it's over a decade, right?
Yeah, we know each other for 10 years, a little bit more. Yeah, and then
it's like I've watched you grow up.
Watch me blossom.
Blossom. Yeah.
So Gail was my college professor turned friend, and we also spend most of our pandemic together because we were each other's quarantine buddies in Woodstock.
Yep.
And and we have done many things together. We have done a book cover, a poster in the subway system for School of Visual Arts that we both went to and both still connected to. And we have, we did talks together, we did events together, we have done many things. And this is one of those, ones to add on to our repertoire. And
we've done some Adobe Max stuff together.
Yes, we have.
That's right.
We did it twice, last year and this year, for different topics. If you haven't checked them out, they're fantastic. Yeah, and then I'm just gonna go to the next slide, Gail.
Yeah. So, chair of BFA Advertising and BFA Design at SVA and creative director of Visual Arts Press, and been doing this for 30 something years at this point, longer than Zipeng's been alive. Zipeng? It's the truth. So
it is the truth. And my name is Zipeng Zhu, and I am a man with many titles, but currently founder of the Studio Dazzle. And I am kind of like my lighting. It's quite colorful, quite moody, and quite intense at times. So
yes, you are colorful, moody, and intense at times. Yeah.
At times.
Right.
Yeah. And tonight, what we have prepared is a series of hot takes based on the collection, the exhibition that's currently on view at the Poster House. We sort of did a tour a few weeks back to sort of gathered some of the notes and some of the observations and some of the interesting connections between the work that we have seen. And then we sort of categorize them into different sections that we find particularly interesting. But before that, you might ask, why us, right? Why these two people?
We say, well, why not? Right? Why not?
But we want to show you a little credential that why we're here, because we're not only professional graphic designers, we're also professional stalkers, and stalking was a big part of giving us the credential of this event. So I'm gonna play this video. Hopefully y'all can see.
Yeah.
Let me know if you can hear it too.
I don't know if you can see this, but this is Milton's old house on Lewis Hollow Road in Woodstock. Years back, when I was at Spotco, I had some co-workers up for the weekend, and they're all designers, and we drove in my car in neutral and rolled down the hill at Milton's house. So I wanted to show them where he lived, without him knowing, of course. Zipeng stalking, trying to get a video without dogs coming out to get him. My final stalking experience, Milton's newer house on Glasgow Turnpike. I will miss stalking you.
So not great on the audio on that, but you get the idea. We went to the new, we went when the new owner was there and looked over the fence and had to be very careful so he didn't see us. And luckily he didn't. Milton, this is Milton's grave at the Woodstock Artists Cemetery. Milton was my neighbor up there, and Zipeng and I did one last stalk trying to find this grave, which we just could not find. And in the end, the president of SVA, David Rhodes, had been at Milton's memorial and sort of drew me a map of where I should look. And lo and behold, I found Milton. And you see Milton, his cat is buried with him, Chelsea, the cat. And it's this very humble spot, which was actually quite sweet. I don't know what I thought there'd be, like gargoyles and flying buttresses and all this, but it was just like this little stone. And so if you're ever up in Woodstock, go put a stone on Milton's grave. And Milton right now is I left a stone for Milton the 2 times I've been over there. Yeah. And my old boss, Fred Woodward, asked me to leave one as well. And so, in terms of Milton, I'm such a fan. I hesitate to say friend, but colleague, and he was always very lovely to me. And we would have lunch, and I would just sit and listen to him talk, and he was wonderful. And we're doing a show at SVA about Milton right now. If you go to the next one, Milton is literally on the side of the building. at SVA with a note that says, "Thank you, Milton, that SVA loves Milton." So, so there's that, which is my little Milton moment. And really, I feel like we're such pushpin fans. Both of us obviously from different eras, but I can appreciate it growing up with it and loving it. And Zipeng, you know, as a younger fan, but there are people who pass through pushpin and were part of it, working on projects. Just, you know, Paula Scher, Elwood Smith, John Collier, all these amazing illustrators, Vivian Flesher and Richard Mantel, and people who worked there as assistants like Chris Ostapchuk and Bill Kovacs, Peter Max, just John Van Hammersveld, just like all these really incredible bold-faced names who are part of the pushpin legacy. And so we just wanted to, you know, quickly, you know, all this because you're here and you're fans already, but, you know, we have connections to some of these folks in very sweet ways. To Milton, as I said, as somebody who worked with him from my Rolling Stone days straight through, and such a lovely man. And he was doing it right up to the end. You know, he even had an iPad that check an email at the end. So sweet. And then, do you want to talk about Seymour?
Yeah, well, so I have one story for each of them since I came a little later in life. I went to school at School of Visual Arts where Milton was the what was his title? The
acting chairman of the board.
Acting chairman of the board. So sometimes Milton will drop by in our main building, and I just remember one day I got in the tiny elevator inside of our main building. And as the door was about to close, and I saw this gentleman walk towards the elevator. So of course, I held the elevator.
Thank you, Zipeng. Thank you, because
yeah.
not everybody would. So,
well,
good man. Your mother raised you right.
My mom taught me okay, and I held the elevator. Turned out it was Milton, and I don't know how to describe this, but I would think it's sort of like what people felt like when Anna Wintour walked into like the Vogue elevator. It's like I literally felt like the living life, it's getting sucked out of me because I was sharing this tiny elevator with Milton Glaser. And then I was supposed to go to the 5th floor, but I literally exit on the 2nd floor. I'm like, you know what? I'll take the stairs. Like, no, you go. Please. So that was my one share moment with Milton. And for Seymour, this is a very, very embarrassing, I would say, knowledge that I have. So before I knew who Seymour was, I actually was working for Paula, which, you know, they're married. So I just always remember this elderly gentleman that always shows up at every single buffet table at every single event that Paula hosted. And I was like, and one day I just asked my coworker, who is this guy? And they're like,
is this guy?
No,
Really?
literally. And it's so embarrassing for me. And then they're like, it's Seymour Quast. And I'm like, oh, got it. And in my head, I'm like, because I've seen him at the buffet table so many times, I just remember this person who is always very hungry. And I
very hungry.
I'm sorry. And then you find out that he's the legend. And then one time when we went to Paula's house up in Connecticut, I think? Yeah. And then we got a tour of the house, but also we got a tour of both their studios, and they have the studio side by side. And then Paula has her, maps, and then Seymour has his drawings. It was just so cool to see the legend still work. Like it was just such a humbling and beautiful moment to see. Like, oh my God, they're still producing, they're still making, they're still creating, and it's so.
He's 90. Inspiring. He is so prolific. And just such a lovely man. Every time I worked with him at Spotco, he was just so nice. And he would come up to the office and talk about ideas. And it's like, really? You're coming up? And just the nicest guy. So humble and self-effacing. And and again, so prolific. So, so we have our little connections to these legends, keep going. And I got to meet Ronald Ruffins and this is like this evening of name dropping, it sounds like, but that's not our intention, at Paul Davis's house a couple of years ago in Sag Harbor. He had a dinner party and Ronald Ruffins was at the dinner party. And I'm like, it's an honor to meet you. And he's like, oh, something like your reputation precedes you or something. And I was just like, you talking to me? I was just like, what? And he was, again, one of these just really, really, really nice men who just wanted to sit and chat, and got up and said, okay, I'm going to walk home. And we're like, no, don't walk home. Somebody will drive you. But like, just just a wonderful, wonderful person. Ed Sorel, worked with him at Rolling Stone, brilliant caricaturist and social commentator. And the work now and way into his 80s is just as complex and rich as it was in the 60s and 70s. So, these guys, wow. And, so for me, Paul Davis, big love of my life there. I'm proud and thrilled to call him a friend. And he actually did a painting of me years back. And so, this folk art combined with surrealism. And, I look at the theater posters when you guys go up to Poster House and see these in real life, just wow, and Jim McMullen, this poster, he teaches at SVA still. We were at a dinner party, sat across from me. I thought, oh, this poor man, he's going to feel like I've got to make small talk with her. And I worked with him over the years at Rolling Stone. And he, again, just like sat and chatted. And all these gentlemen who just legends, like we're saying, are just like, yeah, let's sit and chat. And, what an honor to have worked with them or sat across the table for them. Like, whew, so wonderful. And my later discovery of John Alcorn, who I am such a fan of, and there's a great book about his work called Evolution by Design. His son is Stephen Alcorn and did illustrations for me a million years ago at the Boston Globe. And this book, you need to find this if you don't have it.
Good.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. And yeah, and there's another one called Writing. They're such good books. So go for it. I think I put some of the pages in here.
Yes, you have.
Just lovely, just lovely. So this one you can still find on Amazon, so go for it. And he did not live to be an old guy. Someone was he in his 56 that he died. That's so sad. He after Pushpin was in Italy, and he changed book design in Italy. So I've looked up more of his work, and just I feel like we're supposed to be like taking shots here, but I can't because it's just so wonderful. So that leads us to this.
So, well, when we were going through the museum together, we couldn't help but notice there are many, many divas that are featuring in the work, and which in some ways it's so cool because I am a little gay boy who moved here to the Big Apple from New York City, and divas is all I care about. And when I saw this, when I saw the side of Barbara, and I was like, wow, that if I ever get to make something, right, which will be so cool. However, I would say, and then this is me coming from true honesty, we're here to get some hot takes, I personally think maybe the, bohemian-ish pattern in the back doesn't need to come back, but I would like to see
really?
Oh, yes, really. Yes, I went there. Yes, I just did. But that being said, I love the typography that it's used here, but also I just think the illustration of Barbara on the right is just so iconic, and then so yeah, legendary. It's just.
This was for a TV special from Monsanto sponsoring this. Monsanto Textiles. See, now I'm a fan of those the patterns. I'm actually surprised you're not somehow.
I think purple is not my friend, and every time I see purple, and also green too. I'm not that great with green either. So when I see them together,
not that great with green. Oh, okay.
I'm just saying. I'm just being honest. Yeah, just being honest. It's a night of honesty. I'm just here to give some, my personal opinions. And by the way, the opinion does not reflect on how Poster House thinks of any of the work. So, just if you're gonna cancel someone, like this is the gal. Don't cancel me, hopefully.
Are you a Barbra Streisand fan?
Oh, huge. I saw Funny Girl. So also here's to be fully honest. I first of all heard of the song People on Glee first because
my goodness, really?
I am sorry. I'm sorry. But after I heard that, I'm saying, oh my God, I really need to trace the source material, which led me to watch Funny Girl. And then that was the day that I was like, oh my God, this is so lovely. And then
didn't I make you watch Hello Dolly when you were at my house?
Yes. Okay. I saw Hello Dolly on Broadway first, but then we watched Hello Dolly on TV afterwards. So good. Yeah. I can break into a dance number too if you want me to, but I feel like we have a couple more slides to go through. So
no, I could actually join you in that. No, all Babs all the time. Yeah. Is this more your speed? This one?
Definitely. So I think what it's amazing about going through the exhibition is how much so many of the works still stand up so well. So many of these liquidy, bubbly type are everywhere right now, which is so crazy to see. Something has made decades ago has really stand the test of time. Definitely.
Yep. And Diva. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Continue.
I was going to say Diva-wise. If you go to the next one, and sort of through them, the pushpin women are there's sort of curvy and it's very sensual women and sort of fuller. They're quite. It's just very sexy. I see this as these illustrators who just really embrace women, who love women.
100%.
Yeah.
However, that being said, I don't know what Judy Garland would feel about this particular poster myself. I'm just saying.
Okay.
I'm just saying. When I looked at this. First of all, I did not know it was Judy Garland until I saw the title. Took me a second. Not my favorite. But I like the typography. I like the color frame. But looking at the illustration.
Judy hit a rough patch then. Life was hard. So
I know, but I felt like if I were the designer who's doing this poster, I might zhuzh her up a little bit, even though
life was hard. Okay. Well, what about Aretha? At this time, Aretha was at the height of her power. She was the top-selling female artist in history then. And Milton, I remember saying I didn't think I could do portraits that well, so I did her sideways. What?
But so iconic, so powerful. And what I also love about this is that the use of that, the little light blue stripe and the little Eve Klein blue on the middle. It's they're so unexpected and so simple, but yet striking at the same time. Yeah, this is one of my favorite pieces from the show. When I saw this, it was just so stunning and so powerful. And meanwhile, you look at the typography, how it reflects the graphic in so many ways. Like it echoes each other, it complements each other. It's just so powerful and so striking. Love it.
Okay. All right. So what about Patty? You know, you got such a diva there, Patty. Patty's Pies. Come on.
I mean, one of my, hopefully, like this is one of my dreams. Like I would love to have Patty's Pie one day. You know, this is one thing that I have.
We will.
Okay. We'll make that happen. And what I love about this poster is like, it really is Patty in 5 ways, technically. You know, it's like, how can we do Patty differently? You know, just like a little Patty in the bottom also, just in case you haven't noticed. And what I find it fascinating is that like, there's just so much playfulness and so much joy coming out of this poster that I think, one, it shows how good pushpins are, but also meanwhile it really reflects, I think, Patty's personality, because Patty is pretty sassy, you know, in so many ways.
Yeah.
Pretty sassy. And and
then what about these other ones, Zipeng?
Oh, so I couldn't help but wonder, like when I was going through some of the art archive images, I was like, do they actually secretly draw inspirations from divas across time? Like, you know, when I saw this book cover, I was like, is that Cher? Is that Cher?
Is that Cher? Yeah.
We don't know the answer, but
we'll never know.
Couldn't help but wonder.
Bob Mackie years, yep.
But however, the next one, it was truly, I would say, my biggest observation and discovery throughout the whole archive. It's this image. Like, please tell me this is not Nicki Minaj.
Wow. I can tell you it's not, but I get that's pretty funny.
It's just amazing. But on the other hand,
time traveling.
But if you know, Nicki also have a album cover called Queen that in many ways reflected Cleopatra. You know, just kind of like a little too, you know, Inception for me, and I just have to put it out there. So
maybe the designer went back in time and took a look at this book cover.
We will never know. We will never know. But out of all of these things, what we can conclude is that they love the ladies.
Love the ladies. Love the ladies.
Love the ladies. Ladies are just such a muse for them.
Yeah.
As someone who went to SVA, I can't believe this is one of the, you know, promotional material that features our school gallery. I just can't. But now I cannot unsee this because it's literally called Big Nudes. I don't know if you can notice on the upper left-hand corner, that's the name of the show. And then here it is, Big Nudes.
Big Nudes, yeah. And then there's another Milton that was sort of a surprise. I'd never seen this before.
Kinky.
Quite.
I couldn't help but wonder where Milton was drawing the inspiration from. It kind of told me something that I wish I did not know. Let's be real. But I am surprised to see this, and it's delightful.
Yeah. Let's fast forward through the next ones because there's just lots of, you know, you just kept seeing all these ladies. And what's going on with that? What's he looking at down there? Okay.
I know. In some way, I would like to consider this piece a reflection of it's a portrait of the creator as well, because like this gentleman at the bottom, it's clearly, you know, looking at something that I think the creator also really appreciates. Let's put it that way.
Yes, when you go through these, you say, okay, ladies, you know, and others with more ladies and scantily clad ladies. This, you know, is sort of amusing to me because I think, okay, it's Freud, so it's sexual. So we've got, you know, the lady, scantily clad. and more, naked lady. So again, just very, very sexy. And this that Paula worked on with Jim McMullen, more lady.
Yeah, and then this is, I would say, some of the more subtle ones from our discovery. And then when I look at this, I was like, oh, this is, very inviting and then very voyeuristic in the best way possible, right? And what I love is that like the lake typography, it's spelled out of like the little water drops, which is really cool. But as we go through, you can see the progression of, I would say, what's the word? The protection has been less and less, and here I was like, okay, 2 citrus and a pie. All right.
Yeah.
But like, honestly, I would say the next one is when they just basically gave up on hiding anything. They're like, here you go. We're just going to flash you with the boobs.
Here's the boobs.
And call it a day.
Yeah. And then when I was over there, saw a book cover, the next one that's okay. Well, now we're just moving on to animals and boobs. Okay. So. Yep.
And it's for the off Broadway. I don't know what it says for the people, like, for the people who works under, who works for the off Broadway. I don't know how they feel about this, but it's very cute. It's very charming. Love it very much.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. We're going to take a different perspective, I would say, on the human anatomy, because there's another thing that we recognize a lot by going through the show is that we saw so many profiles. There's a lot of the side of the people throughout the work. And I mean, of course, this is the most iconic profile poster,
Absolutely.
I think, in the history of time.
In the history of time. Yeah.
So I would say we don't have to say a whole lot more about this poster, but what I think is amazing, if you go see the show, you can really see, oh my God, profiles are everywhere.
And, you could have put Mahalia Jackson in the diva category as well.
Yes,
but definitely works either way. But, the most famous gospel singer in the world at the time. And I didn't even realize that you put 2 of these together until much later in life. And then seeing it, it's like, this is so cool. This is so beautiful,
So beautiful.
Yeah. And then lots of other, lots of other profiles. And of course, with so much incredible work for so many years from so many people, of course, there are going to be similarities here and there, or coincidences or themes or whatever, but we just thought it was sort of fun. Or actually, you picked up on the profiles upon.
Yeah, that's me, because I am sort of seeing this from like a, like what is the common thread here? And I was just like, this is really shockingly huge amount of profiles. And then what I find it interesting, it's like every time I felt like it's almost like they gave themselves a challenge. It was like, okay, how can we do a profile differently in different ways? And especially like, going through this, like this is a colorful profile, but then here it's a typographic profile. And, and then to draw the connection between profile and the letter B, genius.
Yep.
So obnoxiously smart.
Obnoxiously smart, really. I like that. I'm going to steal that. Obnoxiously smart.
You know what I mean? It's like, this is so clever.
Like, why did Milton? Yep. So good.
Damn you smarty pant.
Yeah. And so many other cool pieces. It's such a joy to see this, so you gotta come up in real life and see all this stuff. And our John Alcorn, again, so versatile, so many different styles that man worked in, and sadly such a short life, but did so much great work.
And here it's profile within profile. It's just like, wow, okay.
Yeah.
And this is my favorite piece out of it all. I actually picked this piece to pay tribute to Milton, during his memorial for Cooper Union a few months back, but I find this piece particularly fascinating. First of all, once again, profile, but on the other hand, it's like, I think if someone can make a big belly look charming, Milton is the only person on earth is managed to do that. And as you can see here, I don't think they're pregnant. I think they're just, couch potatoes, but yet like these potatoes are very, 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 very charming. And, once again, go Milton.
Yep. And it's just stripped down, so simple. And I know what it is and I love it. And yeah, exactly. Go Milton. Yeah. And, for us, we have to look at the typography, of course. And I pulled some stuff from the archives at SVA. We have some of the typositor strips of some of the typefaces. And you can get a lot of them now from P22. Rich Kegler, with permission from Milton, digitized the faces. So they're worth the investment, and they're very, very manageable price-wise, so go for it. And it's just fun to see these. Just flip through them, because again, these are just the typositor strips, and you see where, like on the next one, that a letter sort of fallen off the side there. But we've got them at school, and they have all these great sort of sarcastic names, all these typefaces, and they're having a real moment again, a real resurgence. So I love this kind of decorative display face. I love all this stuff. Baby curls, also known as cylindrical Gothic, and you see it in use there. So yeah, it's fun to see it have there's like a moment of grooviness again. Of
and it's so
these
genius.
Yeah.
And it's so genius to see like three-dimensional typography done in such a graphic two-dimensional way. Like this is pre 3D graphic, right?
Yeah,
so like
right.
they really use the space and these perspective to make something that is truly incredible. And then again, like what Gail mentioned, like all of them have very funky names. Like they, I will probably never know why this is called kitchen, but meanwhile, I love it. I love it so much. And it's so chunky. It's so like bold and so dimensional. And you can see it here in one of our favorite poster.
Yep. Yeah. Catskill cat. Yeah. That Milton referred to as that damn cat when I asked him about it. Yep. So, and even the type for Sesame Place that he worked on. It's just so fun to see this. And my favorite, Baby Fat, the next one, everybody's favorite.
Oh, so good.
And Zipeng, these all seem right up your alley, that you would get a kick out of using them.
100%. And also, I will say in so many ways, it's such a good inspiration for me as well to see this actually came, I make a lot of extended typography that are dimensional. So like this is right up my alley, but also so many ways that give me new ways to see form and, space and type. Yeah, I am obsessed, truly.
Yeah, and then these others that I love doing this kind of stuff now, and to see it done in, in the mid 60s, it would have just blown my mind to see this then. And it's just so cool, type as object, and anthropomorphic type. It's just great stuff. Just great stuff. And I think Seymour designed this one.
Yeah.
And again, Seymour just could do anything, so many different styles. So yeah, it's so cool to go up there and see this stuff in real life, So again, if you're in the city, you got to do a drive-by and go and see this stuff. So.
And then it wouldn't be a hot take event without some shade. And granted, I would say this is not shade from us, because I think I've thrown plenty earlier, if not get me into trouble. But this is the shade that the studio had thrown to, I would say, our society in so many ways.
Seymour on these, again, Seymour throwing shade. Seymour smokes a pipe, or smoked a pipe. I'm not sure if he still does, but the anti-cigarette,
Yep.
in this really popular sort of advertising parody, protesting the Vietnam War. And this is so iconic. How do we prolong this unjust war? And you just see, you see Uncle Sam, this woodblock. I just thought this was brilliant. I didn't get it as a kid, and then it's like, but I liked it anyway, And as an adult, the War is Madness that Seymour did in the 80s, around 85, 86. Where did it go? There it is. Like, good for him. He's badass.
Truly. And we love this one.
Yeah, and this is 95. I mean, I know to me that seems like a minute ago. To you, I'm sure it seems like, I wasn't even born yet or something like that. But
I was born.
Okay,
I was 5.
You had to do that. You had to go there, didn't you? Yeah.
Sorry.
Okay. Yeah, this is, this stuff is great. And this it takes me back to the typography being so brilliant and beautiful. All the Victoriana that was celebrated at Pushpin, and the Nouveau and Deco and all that, all this sort of looking back that was their thing in a time of modernism, Helvetica and all that. This stuff is stuff that we mine at SVA, that we love as designers and learned through people who worked with Pushpin. For me, Paula, this was my design and type history. And to see this as, a gin kind of little protest action going on there, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. And also I have to say, like, I had another conclusion out of seeing all this work, and also after working for Paula, is like, in order for you to become a graphic design legend, I think you kind of have to have a profound hatred towards Helvetica to contribute to your your future legacy, because that in so many ways push you to really challenge the typography to make it, truly special.
Yeah. And then this was just like a quick shout out to me, because in looking at the show and looking at the work, I was like, wait a minute, Pushpin did this stuff? Like, this was the music I grew up with, Byron Lee and the Dragonaires, and Archie Bell doing the Tighten Up, ska and reggae and calypso. And I think of Archie Bell and Drell's Let's Groove, and it's like, Pushpin was doing this? This is crazy. And then later on, the disco era of, Seymour did this Dan Hartman instant replay. I know this music. I know this is before your time in the disco days, but Yvonne Elliman, what if I Can't Have You from Saturday Night Fever? This is not that, but it's still Yvonne Elliman and Dan Hartman instant replay. And this is Pushpin. Okay. That's pretty cool. That is pretty freaking cool.
Yes. And I would say, out of all this together, ultimately it's about the love, I think, like, not to be cheesy, like big cheese ball here, but like, seeing the work that they have done, they have so much love for the ladies, so much love for the divas, so much love for type, and so much love for the world, like all of the shade that they're throwing, the war cigarettes, all that, like, it's love.
And using illustration, so effectively for so many years. Just all of these legends who passed through Pushpin, just this stuff is brilliant. It's just brilliant. So we're filled with nothing but love.
Yes. And so that's our little thing.
Yep. Yeah, we got no shade.
Follow us on the social. We're here.
He posts all the time. Don't look at me to post anything ever.
Well, she reposts sometimes.
Like, if you do something like, okay, I know how to do that, click. But that's about it.
Anyways, well, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something, but also hope you just feel the love and feel the amazing work that you've seen. And if, like Gail said, if you're in New York, or if you're visiting, please come see the show. It is so good. So good.
Oh, and Carol's saying the Ed Sorel memoir. That's right. He's 92. Oh my goodness. In my head, I thought he was 86, but 92. Yeah. Yeah. I just ordered the memoir. Yeah.
And then meanwhile, Gail, we have a show for Milton at the school, right?
Yes. If you're in the city, come on by 23rd Street on the east side and take a look at the gallery. It's Miltapalooza. If you're on the west side in the West 21st Street building, we've got a show of Milton quotes, and To Inform and Delight is playing on a loop. So take a look at our Milton banner up on the wall. It's going to be all Milton all the time for the next couple weeks. So
Milton forever.
Milton forever. Yeah. And Pushman forever, man.
Yes.
Yeah. All these amazing people. And I'm so lucky to have known some of these guys and to continue to know some of them. Just, yeah, what it's like. So that's design history, people.
It's amazing. So do we have anything to chat? I think Salvador went frozen on me. I couldn't see
He's
him.
gone. It's just us now. Woo!
Oh,
wait.
He's like, no, I'm back.
How dare you?
Taking his clothes off now.
Okay, it's a family show. It's a family show.
It's a family show, yeah.
Yeah.
The Baldwin poster reminds me of Cupid dolls. Yes.
It does.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Gail Zipeng, thank you so much for this fantastic presentation.
Yes, indeed. Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, and thank you all so much for joining us. The Pushpin Legacy is on view at Poster House through February 6th. So there's only 2 more months left to come see it. So do come and stop by.
Over the holidays, yeah.
Absolutely. And yes, again, Gail Zipeng, thank you both so much for your generosity at this program.
Lillian, I'm seeing people I know in the chat. That's so nice.
Yeah, lots of fans came out tonight.
Matthew's here. Yeah. Yeah, thanks for having us. This was fun. It was fun to really get to examine the work.
Yeah, definitely. By far one of my favorite examinations of this exhibition so far. So thank you both so much.
I wouldn't call it insightful, but thank you for.
I wouldn't say insightful either. Yes. Yeah, you didn't learn anything, but hopefully you had a good time.
I learned a lot.
Really?
The profile.
Like, your perspective. All right. Thank you all so much, everyone. Right. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Bye.
Bye.